Hey guys, what's up? Today in the Brick Lab, we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite and least favorite locations from Ninjago, the Explorers Club from Season 11, Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. Ninjago Season 11 was an absolute abysmal failure, but it did have its redeeming qualities, namely the fact that we got a Clutch Powers minifigure, although maybe not Clutch himself in the show, but that's not the point here. The point here is that Ninjago Season 11, while it did have its flaws, did have some neat concepts, one of those being the Explorers Club. And I will say, I'm not a huge fan of any single one of the characters in this episode. The Explorers, instead of being brave and adventurous, were boring old fuddy-duddies. And the ninja really weren't much better. Nia was a complete spoiled brat. Zane was a glitchy weirdo who for some reason can't figure out his cloaking technology after having it for how many seasons now. And Lloyd was completely weak. But that being said, I do love the concept of the Explorers Club on the whole. And so that summer that it came out, I ended up recreating it in physical form. Or at least my interpretation of what it might look like if it was an actual set. Here you can see the main entrance. We have those two main pillars with some lanterns flanking the door and also a little Explorers logo up on the top here. And then overall, I just kind of shrunk the build down just a little bit to accommodate it from the massive scale that it was in the show down to a more manageable display size. And let's go ahead and take a look inside. So our first stop inside is the main hall, where Lloyd and the ninja unceremoniously burst into looking for the Scroll of Forbidden Spinjitzu. The minifigure here, I didn't bother trying to recreate any of the Explorer minifigures from the show because, seriously, I can't stand any of them at all. They're just boring and ridiculous, and, you know, I don't like them, I don't respect them. But here's a character that I do respect, and that's Major Steel from the Monster Fighters line from 2012. Well, I guess I should say as much as it is possible to respect a 2-inch tall plastic figure. Yeah, so we have the main desk here, little lamp on top here. There's, if you can see it, there's a little fossil and a compass from Pirates of the Caribbean, and then a logbook sitting on the side there. That portrait on the back wall I like to think of as the founder of the Explorers Club, but I think it's actually the bank president from that brick bank set from a couple years ago. And then just beside the door there you can see one of the golden Nexonite shields, which means that either one of the Nexonites is an adventurer of this club, or that or one of the adventurers stumbled across a shield on one of their adventures. And then you can see in the corner here we also have a little chair and a little end table with the newspaper, and then my favorite feature of this downstairs hall, and that is the shrunken head in the corner there. It comes from one of the Harry Potter sets from 2012, and while shrunken heads are absolutely gruesome and despicable and hideous, this thing is just so adorable. I love it. It's one of the best things to come from Harry Potter. On second thought, I've actually decided to do this tour in chronological order, so right now, we're back outside along the back wall, and I don't remember the back wall having any distinguishing features in the actual episode, but here I decided to add in some trailing ivy just to disguise the blankness of the back wall here. Plus it also gives the ninja a foothold to climb up on and to gain access to the roof. And even though the scale of my build for the Explorers Club is a lot smaller than the actual one in the show, I did try to include as many features as possible, and up here you can see the most important feature of the Explorers Club, which was the ventilator shaft that Lloyd and the ninja snuck down to gain access to the Explorers Club. And if any kids are watching, I should point out that you should not at all ever do anything that the ninja did in this episode. Because if this episode took place in the real world, Lloyd, Zane, and Nia would be in jail for breaking and entering, trespassing, vandalism, possible assault and battery, and outright theft. So, yeah, they better go watch themselves some Legal Eagle and think about what they've done. So the main feature of the roof is, like I pointed out earlier, the ventilator shaft, and to gain access to it, you just lift it up and it reveals a trapdoor, which leads down into the second story of the Adventurers Club. And here we are in the second story, the room that the ninja ended up in after climbing down the ventilator shaft, and if you open that little trapdoor, you can drop a ninja down and boom, they land directly on that little table. One of my favorite features of this room is actually the bookshelf. It's kind of innocuous and it just sits there, but it actually has a super important function, and that function is to support the trapdoor. And if we remove Rodney Rathbone here, he's also from the 2012 Monster Fighters, we can get a better look at the rest of the room. Here we have a small little table with a pocket watch and another compass, and then 2 wine glasses where the adventurers can come in and rest after a long adventure, I guess. And over on the right-hand side here, you can see we actually have a little red seat and a small coffee table with a teacup on it. And this was actually supposed to be a projector screen. Originally, I was going to design a sticker for this and put it on, but I ran out of time. So I was gonna aim for something Johnny Thunder themed, but I'm not entirely sure yet, so I'm just leaving it blank for now. And moving directly across to the other room, we can see we actually have 2 rooms on this side, but first let's focus on the one on the left-hand side, since that's where the ninja ended up first. And I'm going to remove the roof just so that we get a little better lighting with this thing. So here we go. And basically this room has some of the relics that the ninja encountered in that episode. There's the golden chicken that was hanging on the wall. There was that helmet, that weird thing that kind of sucked everything into it, just a random jewel display case. And then in the back wall here, we also have this weird mirror that displays your deepest, darkest fears. In this case, it looks like my deepest, darkest fear is maybe green flame. So moving across to the next room here, this is one of the last rooms that the ninja encountered. It's the room where Nia broke the jar that housed that insect collection, the second deadliest insects in all of Ninjago, if I remember right. And then here's the display case where the club concierge, or whatever he was, broke open the case with and set free the single most deadliest insect in all of Ninjago. I mean, again, the ninja shouldn't have vandalized this room, and I know it was played for comedy, but if you think about it in the real world, it really wasn't. Basically, I just filled this case with those army ants from the Indiana Jones sets from 2008. I really love these things. They're not really useful in any context. Like, I think I used them in a few brick films in my earlier days, but other than that, they really don't do much, so I guess they can just stay in the case. And moving down to the last segment, you can see 2 of my favorite rooms in this entire set. And, well, I guess the one on the right-hand side here is not my favorite room. This is basically supposed to be the display room for the Scroll of Forbidden Spinjitzu, but unfortunately when I was designing this back in 2019, I was still using LEGO Digital Designer. And as you know, LEGO Digital Designer does not have any new parts, and so it did not have the Forbidden Spinjitzu staff piece. And I didn't have it either, so I didn't know exactly how tall it was, and I assumed that it would fit into this build perfectly. Spoiler alert, it does not. The piece is just too tall, so that's why it's kind of just sitting here angled against the wall. I would love to have it on display a little bit better, but unfortunately that will not be the case, so I'll probably end up putting something else on display here. And then moving over to the left, this is actually my favorite part of the build, and it just looks like this simple innocuous bookcase with like a kind of pirate captain design and a little ship in the bottle underneath. But it's actually a door to a secret chamber, and while this wasn't in the actual episode, I just figured it would be fun to have something that the ninja didn't stumble across and ruin for the adventures. So, basically we just slide it open like so, and it reveals this hidden treasure room. Here's basically just a random golden chest full of treasure, I guess. There's also this brand new phoenix from Harry Potter. That's what I was originally using to display here in this corner, just because it fits in a whole lot better. And then also this anglerfish, which is a piece from last summer, and, you know, I kind of have a couple happy memories involving that part. Some not so good, but I guess we live and move on. Anyway, and then one of my favorite features is this alien who's tucked here into the wall. Thought it'd be kind of fun to include one of those old glow-in-the-dark aliens built into the door. It's kind of a secret hidden feature, treasure, or whatever you'd want to call it. But yeah, I just kind of made this as like a nice little secret hidden safe room for the explorers to store their treasures where the ninja couldn't break in and just like destroy everything like they did for the rest of this episode. Not that I'm bitter at the writers or anything. No, they didn't destroy anything at all. Alright, that is it for our look at the Explorers Club. If you enjoyed it, you already know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and do all that other good stuff. If you want to see more of my content, feel free to check out the other videos on my channel, and so on and so forth. We'll have more custom minifigures and builds and whatnot on the way. I need a good catchphrase.